Hello, everybody. I'm Scott Golden here with the United Wrestling Network UWN/NWA review for the 29th of September 2020. I love this product. They continue to impress. As a matter of fact, there's some stuff here that's better than the national uh, promotions by far. If you're not watching, I think it's $10 a week. At least I'm paying 10 and change by the time I pay tax. Anyway, worth the time, worth the money, and the more we support, the larger the larger companies, the more we give away a certain level of power to actual wrestling returning someday. And it may never, and I get that, but at the same time, we can still dream, right? Anyway, we open with the UWN series of 80s style promos. Just about everyone in the show is on the promo screen. They get 15 to 30 seconds apiece to tell us what they're going to do tonight and all that good stuff. We open with a UWN World Tag Team title match. SoCal distancing of Andy Brown and Adrian Quest defeat Real Money Brothers, Big Money Clutch, and RMB Surge. This is probably the worst match of the night. I didn't particularly care for this. It doesn't mean it wasn't passable. And from an indie perspective, it was passable to bordering on good. But it didn't click for me. Anyway, Brown and Quest get the heat on Surge for the early portion of the match. Quest uses a lot of strikes. Brown controls Surge with power. Surge comes back with a power slam on Quest and makes a tag to Clutch. Surge tries a double team suplex, doesn't get where he wants with it, and Brown cuts them off. And SoCal distancing, which is a fun name, by the way, hit a combo double stomp, and Death Valley Driver gets a 2 count. Not a fan of this because Death Valley Driver factors into a finish later in the card, but that's just me. Anyway, Surge hits a full Nelson into a flatliner for a near fall of his own. He tries a suplex, doesn't get what he wants. Brown makes the save, and Quest hits a bounce on Clutch, and Brown hits the finish him on Surge, and then hits a Phoenix Splash. Then Quest hits a Phoenix Splash. Not a bad match, but I don't know. There's nothing in this that didn't scream indie guys who weren't ready yet, and I'm okay with that. I mean, sometimes that happens when you give people opportunities they haven't had before. Trevor Murdoch cuts promo. He says he's going to be the NWA National Champion. Papa Don defeats Remy Marcel. I've seen Papa Don before. Can't remember where. I think it was a New York-based indie, probably about a decade or so ago. He looks like $1 million. They keep saying he's been around for 20 years. That's just sad because if he's been toiling in the indies for 20 years, that means he hasn't had, much of real opportunity to make money in his career. Marcel comes down. He's basically, a baby face who has criminal tendencies. Papa Don claims that his hair is pulled when he has none, which was funny. Marcel hits a slingshot senton from the apron, but nails a hot shot from Papa Don and a series of elbows. Papa Don has a really awesome look, by the way. If you've never seen him, worth going out of your way to check out. He hits a neckbreaker for a near fall. Papa Don then hits a clothesline and argues with the official about the cadence of the count. Papa Don hits a suplex and some kicks, and then Marcel hits a crossbody and a Northern Light suplex for a near fall of his own. Papa Don comes back with a vicious clothesline, almost like a JBL style clothesline, and then we see a pile driver for the finish. Chris Dickinson told the interviewer to shut up, and he tells the world he's angry at being ignored for as long as he has been. He says he has something to prove. He says that he wants to get rid of Gentleman Jeeves. He's an insult to professional wrestling. He said he could talk all day and they'd need to send someone to shut him up. Anthony Idol shows up and cuts a "let's fight right now" style promo. Dickinson takes this on. Dickinson and Idol are up next. Idol and Dickinson collide. Dickinson is very good if you've seen him in Beyond, if you've seen him in Evolve. I'm not quite sure why a larger company hasn't picked him up at least one time just to give him a chance to see what they could do with him. Anyway, Idol tries to hit some elbows, doesn't get what he wants. Dickinson hits a chop, and Dickinson drops Idol with a DDT, and he starts trash talking a bit. He goes for the armbar, but Idol comes back with a spine buster for near fall. Idol tries a choke slam, gets a 2 count, and then several more power moves. Dickinson hits a Death Valley driver for the win. He calls out everybody in the NWA. He basically makes it sound like he wants Nick Aldis and the NWA champion. Then a really good women's match with a sad ending. Allison Kay defeats Nicole Savoy. Savoy has been on Dark and part of the women's tournament not too terribly long ago. Kay takes over early and they fight on the mat for a while. Savoy tries to get Kay into her guard, and Savoy rolls into an arm drag, and Kay takes out her legs, and they roll into submissions for a while. Really good women's wrestling, worth going out of your way to see. Savoy counters into a triangle choke, but her shoulders were down, so she lets it go. Savoy hits a butterfly suplex on Kay, and Kay manages to continue to attack the leg. Savoy hits a Salto suplex and goes for a waist lock. Kay continues with a rolling knee bar, and Kay comes back, goes after Savoy's knee again. They both exchange forearms in the middle of the ring. Savoy hits an uppercut and then a palm strike and a German suplex. By the way, Savoy is known as the Queen of Suplexes, so that makes sense. Her knee gives out at a point. Savoy hits a knee to Key for a near fall and goes for a figure four, but Savoy kicked Kay out of it and rolls her up for a near fall. Kay is able to continue the pin of her own and win the match. Really good match. It seems like Savoy might have injured her knee legit. Hope she's okay. And Kay calls out Thunder Rosa. A rematch should be a big deal because Rosa defeated Kay several months ago before all the pandemic junk for that championship. Aaron Stephen cuts a quick promo about the main event. Mae Valentine is doing interviews. And then we see Ruby Reyes defeat CC Chanel. Chanel seems to be a popular last name for women's wrestlers. Anyway, Chanel jumps into the air and they do the test of strength. They grapple for position for a while. They trade some forearms and a kick to the head of Reyes, and then CC hits a butterfly lock and locks the arms, is unable to lift Reyes, and Reyes hits a shoulder tackle, blocks another suplex attempt, and they go back and forth with power moves. Reyes getting the advantage there, and Chanel dodges a chop and hits a few strikes, goes for a suplex again. Ruby counters and hits the strong zero for the win. This probably should have gone on first if you're going to do the two women's matches back to back. Robert Bates defeats Jack Cartwright. Bates comes out and he's wearing a painted Stormtrooper helmet, which doesn't go very far for him. Anyway, They do a basic indie match. Cartwright has some great gymnastics, needs another opponent to be able to really show what he can do. He does a lot of great athletic stuff. Bates spends the match hitting a lot of power moves. Cartwright manages to hit power slam, which doesn't fit with his agility gimmick. Misses a shooting star press, and Bates locks on a Cobra Clutch for the win. This was not great, but it's an interesting styles clash. And then we go to the main event. Trevor Murdoch defeats Aaron Stevens to become the new NWA National Champion. Good for the NWA to get their name back out there. Hopefully this gets coverage on the NWA YouTube channel as well as here. Stevens charges right away. Murdoch nails him with a right hand. Stevens tries to counter Murdoch, and basically several punches later, Stevens realizes his strategy isn't working. A strike exchange continues, and Murdoch hits another big right hand. Murdoch slams Stevens into the ring steps on the outside, and Murdoch hits a series of clotheslines, but Stevens kicks out, and they go onto the entrance ramp, and Murdoch throws him off the ramp towards a wall. Steven grabs a spotlight and blinds Murdoch with a spotlight, which was an ingenious spot. Kind of cool. Very rare that you see that, but that would make sense in a fight. Anyway, Stevens nails a series of elbows in the corner and chokes out Murdoch with his black belt. And then the ref seems to ignore this, so I guess the ref has played favorites or something. Stevens hits the rope. Murdoch hits a spine buster, and Murdoch up first after the spine buster and hits a crossbody for a near fall. Murdoch tries to float over, but Stevens takes his knee out and begins to attack the knee with several submission attempts. Murdoch sends Stevens back out onto the ramp and then hits a full Nelson slam back in the ring. Murdoch goes to the top rope and hits a bulldog. Stevens ducks, and Murdoch crashes into the mat, and then Stevens hits a rolling elbow. Murdoch kicks out of this, and Murdoch sat down after a sunset flip, and that means he wins the championship, and Murdoch is very happy to be an NWA champion. It's a cool thing. He basically tears up with a promo. He says he did it for his kids. He had tears in his eyes. This is a beautiful ending, and the show was ends with the series, and really, really a good thing. I would even say better than at least half of Raw. For an independent company, that's a big deal. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.